Hello cherry lovers, this is Joyce again, back with a great recipe, so stay tuned. Okay, we are back, and today I want to share with you a recipe called chicken and mushrooms in creamy garlic parmesan sauce. It's a really great recipe. I'm going to go over the ingredients for you real quick here. If Larry will take a picture over here, I'm going to bring them up right now. Okay, we're going to use 2 tablespoons of olive oil. We're going to do 4 chicken breasts halved in crisscross. Now, you're going to see a lot of ingredients here because I am making a double batch, but I'm going to read to you the single recipe for the single ingredients. Next, we have the salt and the pepper. We have 10 ounces of sliced mushrooms. Make sure they're sliced. You can buy the 10-ounce package, but I just bought the organic mushrooms, wash them and slice them up myself. We've got 4 tablespoons of butter. Also, we've got 4 cloves of garlic minced. You need a tablespoon of flour, also half a cup of let me put this over here, a half a cup of grated Parmesan cheese, a teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. Now the first thing you're going to do, as you can see here, I've already got my chicken sliced up here. First thing you want to do is put salt and pepper on it. And then you want to put a tablespoon of your half of the olive oil into your skillet. You want to turn it on and let it heat. Once that's heated up, then you want to cook your chicken breast 8 minutes on each side. Let it cook for 8 minutes on medium-high heat and then turn it over. And I'm going to do that right now and I'll be right back with you. Okay, we're back. And as you can see, I've got a plate of brown chicken, and this is the last of it. I'm going to take these pieces out. And there's one thing that I did say that I got to correct. I said to brown the chicken 8 minutes on each side. I meant a total of 8 minutes, not 8 minutes on each side, but 4 minutes on each side, a total of 8 minutes. Also, one other thing I wanted to add is that the cream that I'm using, it's actually I'm using fat-free half and half, so you won't get all the calories. Now the next thing we're going to do here is add the sliced mushrooms to the skillet. Add you about another tablespoon of olive oil. That's the rest of the olive oil that you have left over. And remember, I'm making a double batch if it seems like quite a bit more. Now what you want to do is you want to get those mushrooms stirred around in the juices, and you're going to let that actually cook for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, they'll be nice and moist and brown. So I'm going to let that cook for 5 minutes and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back and the mushrooms are fully cooked. The next thing you want to do at this point is to take all of your mushrooms and remove them to another plate, which is what I'm going to do right here. You might have to pour off some of the juice. You might not, it just depends on what kind of mushrooms you use. The next step we're going to do is to make the sauce. Okay, and now that that butter is all melted, you want to add in your garlic. And keep that on like about a medium, not a high. And let your garlic cook until it's brown. That's going to take about 2 minutes to do that. So I'm not going to keep you on camera. I'm going to come right back in about a couple of minutes after the garlic kind of browns. Okay, we're back and the garlic is lightly browned here. And now you're going to add in your flour. And you want to stir that up. And you're going to have to stir that for a couple of minutes also. Okay, so I'm going to stir that up for a couple of minutes and I'll be right back. We're back. Now we're going to slowly add in the broth. Just remember too that I don't know if I mentioned that. When you stir the flour, just stir it until it's mixed in there, till it's no longer, you can see it, you know, it only takes a couple of minutes. Next thing you're going to do is pour in your broth a little bit at a time. Yep, that's exactly what it's designed to do, because it's actually making a thickening. You pour it in slowly. You get to see that do its work right there. And then you give it a chance to cook a little further. Constantly stirring it till you get all that broth added in there. Wow, that butter and garlic smells so good. So good. Okay, we got a little bit more here to go. And you can see that that's what you want to do. It's kind of, the simmer is leaving, so I'm going to turn it up, the heat up just a little bit, because we don't want it to continue to simmer. Okay, now we're going to finish the rest of the broth. Put that over there. Next we're going to add the cream, but I want to get this up to a slight simmer again before we add the cream in there. Okay, I'm going to give that maybe a minute or so to come to a simmer, and I'll be right back. Okay, we've got a simmer going here. Now we're going to slowly do the same thing with the cream. And remember, you don't have to use the full cream. You can use the fat-free, low-fat. I'm using the actually no-fat, half and half. And it actually tastes just as good, and you won't believe me until you do that for yourself. You have to try it. Now I'm going to slowly pour this in here so it can keep a simmer, which will take about a minute or two, and I'll be right back. Okay, now we're going to add the Parmesan cheese, and we're going to mix it. Now, I told you before that I am making a double batch. After I get done adding this cheese, I'm going to transport all of the ingredients in this skillet, because as you can see, it's getting very full. I'm going to put it in a large pot because my skillet is too small and it's not going to hold the mushroom and the double batch of chicken. So you want to put your Parmesan cheese in and just stir it up, let it come to a small simmer, and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and that garlic and mushrooms, not the mushrooms because they're not in there, but the garlic and the butter smells so good. It's got a really nice gravy. Take a look at that gravy, Larry. A nice thickening going there. And the next thing we're going to do here is add in the chicken and the mushrooms. And you can use any side that you would like with this. You can have noodles, you can have penne pasta, you can have rice. Larry loves rice, so that's probably what we're going to have with this one. And remember, this is definitely a double batch. This is not a single batch. I got quite a bit of chicken breast here, but it smells so good. Larry's been nibbling on my chicken. I have to smack his hands because he's always eating half of my food before it's ever done. Okay, now we've got all the chicken added in there, and now we're going to add in the mushrooms. And I love mushrooms. I can eat mushrooms just by themselves. So we want to put that in there, and there is your dinner. But I'm going to put it on a plate, let this simmer for a couple of seconds here because it's already done. Everything is ready. Also, I wanted to remind you guys, I added some salt when I was making the mushrooms and the sauce with the olive oil. So I added in the salt and pepper there. Make sure you taste it as you go along, because sometimes you might want a little more salt. I'm not a huge salt fan, but just taste it and salt and pepper it to your taste. I'm going to put this on a plate and I'll be right back so you can see what it looks like. Okay, We're back, and this is the finished product, and it still smells so good. And over here is a plate that Larry poured for himself, and Larry's gonna taste test it as usual and tell us what he thinks.
Well, she made this delicious dinner, and of course she always told me I've got to be the taste tester. So I'm going to taste test this, and you know what? I must have to say it again, folks. She's overdid herself because this is fantastic. So I'm going to take a bite and try it because I haven't tried any of it yet. And with the noodles, she said that you can either have noodles, pasta, or rice. So any of the sauce and the chicken can be poured over anything. But this really looks delicious, folks. So let me give it a try. Wow, the garlic, the butter, all the seasonings. Excuse my mouthful again, folks, but ooh la la, it was delicious. You did good, Joyce. You did wonderful. So if you guys like this video, like and subscribe. Check this out. Make it for yourselves. You guys are going to love it. Bye now.